Welcome to MediaHead MythBusters. Hey MediaHeads, so I'm Mitch and I want to walk you through the difference between passive speakers like this in-ceiling speaker here, or these floor-standing speakers to my left and right, and a sound bar, as well as the TV speakers. So in order to do that, I first sort of want to take you back to science in school. Is that okay? No one's ever excited whenever someone mentions science, but it actually is really important in this case. What is audio? So I want you to think about that for a second. So the easiest way to define audio is sort of all you have to do is put your hand over your mouth and talk. And what you're gonna feel is you're gonna feel air moving. And that is all audio is, it's just moving air. So now, why a soundbar is better than TV speakers? It moves more air. Most TVs have 2, maybe 4 1-inch speakers that might have a total of 10 watts behind them. What that means is that your TV, even at max volume, is putting about that much audio towards you. It's just throwing 4, maybe 5 square inches of audio at you. A soundbar, it's gonna double or triple that. This Sonos Arc has 9 speakers in it, all of which are about 1 inch to 2 inches in diameter. What that means is this is throwing about 10 to 20 square inches of audio. So we're getting more like this instead of this. So what that means for you is that it sounds louder without actually being louder. Now, the reason why I like in-ceiling speakers or floor standing or in-wall speakers is the same principle. So this is a Origin Acoustics D89 speaker. So it's a really nice one, but you don't have to go this level to get a serious improvement in audio. So this particular unit is a 3-way design. What that means is that there's 3 total speakers in here. But let's just think that this is only 1 speaker in a setup. A lot of the time you're gonna have 2 or 5 or 7 or 9 of these in a setup. But let's do some math right here. We have a 1-inch tweeter, we have a 3-inch mid-woofer, and then in this particular unit we have an 8-inch like low frequency woofer. What we need to do is find out how much air that is moving. We can find the surface area by pi r squared. Just rough math. This in-ceiling speaker, for example, if you do the math on all the radiating areas of the tweeter, mid-range woofer, and low woofer, is shooting almost 60 square inches of audio at you. That is easily 3 or 4 times the amount that this is producing out of 1 speaker. And in most scenarios, you're gonna have at least 2 in any setup. So yes, a stereo setup of in-wall and in-ceiling speakers is going to sound better at every volume level because it's moving more air. All right, so now that we've gone over why in-ceiling and in-wall speakers and floor-standing speakers do actually produce better sounding audio, I do want to make sure that everyone knows that a soundbar is worth it depending on your use. So in smaller bedrooms, in areas that obviously you don't care as much, you don't necessarily want to spend $2,000 or $3,000 in speakers, that's when a soundbar becomes a lot more appealing solution because it is a considerably better option than the TV speakers. I listened to my TV speakers for the first time the other day in like a year and a half, and it was shrill, it was painful. And you know what? It was plenty loud. That's because any speaker can play loud. Whether or not it sounds good is a totally different deal. And soundbars give you an option without having to spend an arm and a leg in order to get good sound. Now, it's not going to be as good as in-wall or in-ceiling speakers. It's not going to be as good as floor-standing speakers, but it is going to be substantially better than those built in the TV. One thing I do suggest with any setup is getting a subwoofer. A lot of people don't think about subwoofers. They're like, oh, well, why do I need one? I'm not a bass head. Those lowest frequencies, subwoofers specialize in, but one thing that is seriously overlooked is that 40% of all audio is actually below what we call the 200 hertz. What that means is that 40% of everything that you hear is actually produced by those big things. It's why whenever you add one in, all of a sudden the audio feels full. It's why all of a sudden it sounds impactful. It's why, in my opinion, it is the foundation of all audio. TV speakers are mediocre at best, but they can play loud. They just might be shrill. Soundbars are a step up. They are very, very good, especially the Sonos Arc and the Blue Sound Pulse Bar. But know that they will pale in comparison to better surround sound and 2-channel systems. So as far as price considerations, generally with soundbars, I'd say anything from $300 all the way to about $1,000 is where you start transitioning to in-ceiling or in-wall speakers. At $1,000, you'd probably be getting a Sonos amp or a Blue Sound Power Node Edge and a pair of $300 or $400 speakers. Higher performing systems like in-wall, in-ceiling, surround sounds, I generally suggest start at about $1,000, but the average is usually $2,500 to $5,000 out of what we see, and you can go considerably higher performance than that. See you next time, media heads.